Thank you for joining us. This is KTM Mid-Morning. My name is Kwe. Now, there are different kinds of mental disorders, each characterized by different sets of symptoms that affect how we think, feel, and behave. Symptoms can include depressed mood, extreme mood swings, disturbances in thought or perception, obsessions or fears, or other overwhelming feelings of anxiety. Now, the users and survivors of psychiatry in Kenya hold focus group sessions every now and then to encourage each other and to follow up on each other's progress. Today on Mid-Morning Lifestyle, we speak to some of the members of the focus group formed by the users and survivors of psychiatry in Kenya.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
I just want to take the opportunity to welcome you to our session of the support group today. I think even as we wait for the other members to arrive, let's proceed and start. And we can start by you guys, introducing yourself and saying how your week have been. Probably you might have had some challenges, some successes. Maybe ladies first.
Okay, I'm Janet.
In terms of the peer support groups that we have currently at USP Kenya, one of the reasons that made us to get into it was because of the high need of having peer support groups that are basically led by the users and survivors of psychiatry in Kenya. And essentially what happened is that one of our members did a story in the newspaper, and we had a lot of calls from different parts of the country. So we decided on a pilot basis to actually roll out this particular program in four counties in Kenya, which is Nairobi, Kiambu, then we have Nyeri, and we have Nakuru.
My name is Elizabeth Ombati. I'm a journalist by profession. I've done print journalism. I'm in my mid-20s. I was diagnosed with a condition called social anxiety disorder in the year 2009. From the age of 10, if I can remember, I was a shy girl. Well, initially I used to think it was shyness, but then it went on and on, affecting my performance in school because, well, if you're not in school, you're at home. And when I was in school, what I realized was that I was getting unnecessarily anxious in class, that I don't answer. I know answers when teachers asking questions in class as they do. I know the answers, but then when I want to answer, I feel my heart beat really hard. I couldn't explain the source of the fear. So, but I lived with it and on and on. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't know what it was until in college. When I got to college, it was the same thing. Until I went to my first jobs, I was doing minimal things that didn't expose me to many people, that I didn't have to feel all this fear that I couldn't explain. So when it was getting out of hand, I quit 2 jobs because I realized another fear when I go to the workplace, telephone fear. The telephone rings and I feel really anxious to pick it because a telephone rings and so many thoughts cross my mind. What am I going to tell the other person? So I just fear. I thought I used to get panic attacks. I don't know. So I had to talk to someone. And I talked to a friend who said that maybe I should see a clinical psychologist. And so when I saw one in 2009 and they told me about that, at least it's something I could relate to. When I was in high school, when I was in Form 2, it was during a literature class, and each student was supposed to read a passage from the book in question. And I remember that day I hid my book, and told the teacher that I didn't have a book, to escape the reading. So from that early age, you were able to tell that there is a problem, And it goes on and on in class all that time, and now the workplace, as I said about the telephone fear. And I'm going to social functions, just feeling really uncomfortable. You'd rather not be there, being the center of attraction, yeah. And I don't think it's selfishness, you cannot really say that you're thinking about yourself too much. It's thoughts you can't control. It's a fear that you really can't control.
Normal, healthy anxiety usually occurs in reaction to a real stressor. That stressor can be as relatively minor as a doctor's appointment, a first date, or a work review, and as major as a job layoff or the end of a relationship. A person experiencing everyday anxiety can usually pinpoint this stressor and can take steps to make unpleasant feelings abate. Unlike the relatively short-lived anxiety we all experience, generalized anxiety disorder lasts at least 6 months, and individuals who have it find the symptoms to be so crippling that it interferes with normal everyday life.
Who might have a similar or a different issue or anything that you might want to share with the group?
There's a certain time I'd quit my third job at a communications organization, and I went to see another psychologist who said that I take antidepressants. I took antidepressants for a month, but then I realized that the medication, what it does, if there's something that triggers my fear and I feel my heart really beating, this time I was taking antidepressants, I know my heart is beating, but I can't feel it really as hard, beating as hard on my chest as I would hear it the other time. But then I realized that this medicine was not really going to help me face these fears. So what I do is the support group came in handy, because I come to a place where I find people who've experienced what I've gone through, so they help me. Talk therapy, where someone talks to you and says, just try, a step at a time. That is what happened when I saw the psychologist. I went for 6 sessions of counseling, which helped me, because you're helped to look at things in a rational manner, because sometimes you realize this fear is not there. You will not die. If you talk in front of people, it will feel bad at first, but then as the minutes go by, you get relaxed. So that's what I did, more like going, into the trigger, and you realize it's not as bad. But it's not easy. You have to gather a lot of courage. In formal settings, I'm okay. I talk with people a lot. Actually, I did share my story in a national newspaper in Kenya, but then I said it was about shyness, because I thought I was shy, but then with time I realized it was fear. So I talk a lot. In formal settings, I'm okay, but when it comes to very formal settings, then the anxiety goes up. But informally, I have many friends. I'm okay. Yeah, maybe not being taken serious. You tell people you fear, and people ask you, what do you fear? Or people tell you everyone fears. So as I said, from the early age, when I realized that I could have a problem, so I started researching about it. I talked to a few people. I didn't tell everyone. For example, when I was in school and I couldn't participate in symposiums, because 844, 1, 2, 3, I was among the best students. You're number 1, you're number 2, and the teachers think if you don't answer questions in class, you're selfish. If you don't attend these symposiums, you're selfish, which really hurt me. Then it hurt me even more that I couldn't talk out and say, this is it. This is what I think I suffer from, because I wish to participate in drama like everyone else. I wish to go to all those singing competitions, but I couldn't. And the friends close to me who didn't understand, thought, let's just leave her. And at the Daily Nation, I shared my story in September 2009. Many people were shocked. They were saying, Elizabeth, this is a false story, because this is not you. This is not the person that we know. And so I was trying to explain to them that there are things I was not able to tell you, but I've put them down so that at least now you can understand. Yeah, but my family, I don't think they're entirely convinced that this is really a serious problem. I've quit 4 jobs so far because of this anxiety. It comes with low self-esteem. That's what my psychologist was helping me to deal with, belief in myself, self-belief. It is a problem. My low self-esteem is a problem, but I'm working on it. And so when I quit my jobs, because of these thoughts, of some sort of helplessness that I can't control, that I'm not good enough. So those are things I deal with, and my support group helps me to deal with. My family are not really convinced, so I tell them I've quit a job. Some have gotten angry at me, You know, they think I play with work. I don't think I play with work. I think I try. So right now I do freelance writing jobs and editing jobs.
I think, as we are calling it, it is a peer support group, which means this is a group for peers, people who have gone through the same experiences, people who have gone through the same challenges in life. So we do not necessarily have any professional qualification per se to conduct a peer support group. You know, as long as probably you have gone through the mental health system, then you have the experience, you have the expertise by experience, which actually helps you to moderate and to facilitate this kind of a group.
It's an amazing group. There is a time, it's funny, I had this fear of escalators. I see an escalator and my heart beats. It sounds silly, but then my group helped me because such a fear, like a fear of escalator, is not entirely just the fear of escalator. You find that there are so many things attached to it. So they tell me, now Liz, you just have to try. So they tell me, today go to a certain mall that has an escalator and just look at it. So I will do that. I go and look at it, the escalator, and they tell me, next time you go, just talk to someone to help you up the escalator. And that's what I did. And one day, a few months ago, I was able to do that. I used the escalator up, down. Someone else might think it's silly to even celebrate such a thing, but to me, it meant a lot because that was a fear that I'd conquered. And when you conquer the small fears, then you know that even these other bigger ones, that you can just try, and you have people, you know, encouraging you to do those things. So my support group has been amazing. I've gotten work. I was a communications officer in some organization. Unfortunately, I quit after 9 months. But it was a good stint, you know, being a communications officer and just saying that this fear can't keep me at home. Let me just do what I can. If it's too much, then let me take a break and just pick up again. Maybe I will say this thing about shyness. You know, you see girls, young girls, or even boys, I don't know if they go through that period where you think a girl is shy and you just ignore and say, this is a stage, they're just shy, they'll get over it. It goes on to high school and you say, this person is not talkative, they'll get over it. I think it's okay, especially for teachers, if they notice that among their group, their pupils in class, if they could just take time to know them and be able to detect such things, especially shyness, low self-esteem, which could lead to these other conditions like anxiety. And anxiety is not really pretense. If someone says they're afraid, they're not pretending. Just reach out to them and see, you know, how can you help? And if someone feels that the anxiety is out of control, it's okay to seek help. Yeah, because it limits someone's life, and I think the essence of life is to be happy, you know, reach out, not be boxed in. Yeah, I think so. If someone feels they have a problem, it's okay to reach out. Yeah.
Walter, maybe you can tell us how you've been.
I'm Walter, the husband of Janet. My week has been really...
We also have carers coming to the support group because it is very, very important. Even as you empower the person affected, you also have to keep on talking to their carer, because probably when I leave the peer support group, I go home to my mother or I go home to my sister or my brother. So we try to adopt a rounded approach by talking to the person affected and also talking to their carer, so that they can be able to live together, you know, at home more properly.
Please. Hi guys, I'm Elizabeth Ombati. I'm a writer by profession.
I think the peer support groups plays a number of critical roles. First of all, it is a center of empowerment, whereby our members are empowered about different things. For example, about issues of human rights. For example, about issues of, you know, self-management. For example, about issues of stress management. So it is basically a forum whereby members are empowered in order for them to be able to lead a more functional and productive life, of course, in the society.
I'm Andrew Kemondo. I come from Karatina. I'm a teacher by profession. I teach at Kemong Secondary School in Karatina. I was diagnosed with bipolar. Actually, the problem started in 1993, but I came to know about it in last year, but one. But I had been to several hospitals, but I have never been told what I was suffering from. Okay, actually, in 1993, I fell sick and I was taken to Madale Hospital. And in Madale, I stayed there for about a month. And then from there, I have been to several hospitals. I only came to understand, I was only told that I'm suffering from bipolar last year. I was having a mood disorder, I was suffering from hallucination, I could not move a lot, I could talk a lot, I was restless, I was not sleeping, I was suffering from insomnia. Sometimes I had loss of memory, amnesia, and some hallucination.
Also known as manic depression, bipolar disorder is characterized by extreme moods that swing between poles of mania and depression. These episodes may range from mild to severe, depending on the disorder type: bipolar 1, bipolar 2, rapid cycling, mixed bipolar, or cyclothymia. All bipolar types experience manic or hypomanic and depressive episodes to varying degrees. Mania is typified by sudden euphoria or rage, hyperactivity, inflated self-esteem, racing thoughts, decreased need for sleep, and preoccupation with irrelevant matters. Mania may also include reckless behavior like extravagant shopping sprees, risky sexual activity, or foolish investments.
Actually, when I was told, I was happy because all through I have never been known what I was suffering from. I was told, now you are suffering from bipolar. This is a mood that sometimes you'll be emotional, sometimes your emotions will come high. You need medication, and you need to visit the doctor regularly and to follow medication. Managing is a bit difficult, but actually you try. When I discover, actually with my education, I've come to be aware that, one, I have to talk to people of what I'm suffering from. For example, my boss actually knows that I'm suffering from that disease. And therefore, when there is that problem in work or at work, my boss actually know that maybe it is because of the disease. And they know, my colleagues actually know that I'm suffering from this disease. And my family, and even people around. But I thank God that I do work.
The depression side of bipolar disorder mirrors the symptoms of major depression: persistent sadness and fatigue, loss of interest in activities, changes in sleeping and eating patterns, difficulty concentrating, feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness, and thoughts of death or suicide.
My life has been very difficult because to associate with the people, it has become different, and sometimes it has become a challenge because some people will run away from you, others will think that maybe because you are mad, others will give you bad names and what have you. But actually, my friends, I can say, especially the support group, these are my friends because they have given me comfort at home when I'm with them.
I think modern life is challenging for all of us, and it's just that we do not understand the uniqueness of mental health problems. Just like the way any other person would struggle with any other issue. I think if we only took time to understand, then we would understand that these issues are not complicated, that these issues can actually be addressed, and they are very, very relevant and at the core of actually the person who is affected. So I only think that people really do not understand about these issues. And generally, even people say that a problem which is shared is a problem which is half solved. So I think part of the reason why you need to engage in things like psychotherapy and peer support groups, which probably involves a lot of talking, is because talking is therapeutical. Once you share your problems, people might not necessarily have the solution, but you feel better after sharing those particular problems. Then you always know that there is a family and a network of people who are basically thinking about you, who are basically praying about you, and who are willing to walk with you in this journey of recovery.
I have a wife, they have children, and nuns have, but they are not so old. But my wife, nobody's have other than me. Actually, it is you feel that the world is not a good place to live in. But you believe that all people do not love you. You are not loved by people, and you believe that you feel that people are against you in all ways. And you feel that whatever you contribute, nobody appreciates. And therefore you feel hopeless. You feel that it is better now to terminate your life. I think the people outside there, they should see this idea of mental disorder as something that is not something to shy away from. They should feel that these are your friends. If you have a cousin, a brother who is suffering from bipolar, make him a friend. Instead of maybe going to social places all the time, visit him. If it is maybe support, give him any support that you can give. Instead of maybe you are contributing a lot of money in a harabe, but then you have somebody in your home who is suffering from mental disorder, who is poor. Just try that one as one of the harabe that you can do.
Once again, welcome very, very much. I think my week have been good and hectic in some ways. My trouble is always waking up in the morning. You know, sometimes my mood is so low, but I've realized that every time I wake up in the morning and sort of exercise and run, it helped to freshen me up and sort of get into the groove of the day. So I don't know if there is anyone who might have something pressing or challenging that they might want to share. What I find is that sometimes it is very, very challenging on their journey to recovery, because maybe it have taken me, 8 or 9 years to be able to sort of discover myself and get my life back on track. So when some of the members come to the group, they think you have, pretty much figured out your life together. But sometimes they do not understand that you also have your own issues, you also have your own struggles. It's only that there are some things which you have done consistently and differently, probably over the last 7 or 8 years, to be where you are.
My name is Joe Murere Karanja, and I'm a student. And I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2006. And by then I was 16 years old. Actually, the symptoms of bipolar disorder started earlier, like when I was in primary school. I used to be very lonely. Sometimes I was very meek. I was not talkative. I had a relapse when I was in 2006. I think it was on May. I was at school and I started behaving weirdly. I was talking too much, which was unusual because I never used to talk too much. So I was just talking too much, behaving. And then I was so irritable. When somebody tells me something, I would become irritable and talk and shout and stuff. And so they noticed that I have a problem, and they took me to the hospital. Yeah, actually, the way I manage my symptoms is through taking medication and also taking life easy, taking life positively. The medication has very bad side effects. Sometimes you sleep a lot. Sometimes you feel you don't want to do anything. You feel like you are rigid. You don't want to do anything. You feel you can't concentrate. And then mostly like me in my case, I have a problem with stammering, and it is caused by it is aggravated by the medication. They make you not be able to talk well because of the they make the mouth to fill the saliva, so that you can't speak audibly. Yeah, and actually medication is very expensive because like my parents they really struggle to buy me medication. I take medication every day, and I think per month something like almost 10,000, 8,000 there. There's a stigma for example, where I come from, mostly, but I understand that these things are there. There's a lot of stigma, but me personally, I'm not stigmatized because, like me, I'm able to handle it. I don't have problem with my social life that much. I used to earlier when I was diagnosed, but now I've been able to cope, and now I can function just like any other person. I have had suicidal thoughts, I think twice. First when I was diagnosed, and when I had a relapse in 2007. And it's a very bad experience because that's why you hit a dead end. You are fed up with life. You feel you are hopeless. You are worthless. You feel you don't have energy you feel you don't have, how do you call it? You feel you don't have that eagerness to that hope in life anymore. You feel you won't take your life. I remember when I was in Mania some time back. I stole some money from my mom and went and a lot of money by the way. And went and squandered it all of it within 2 days. And actually, like during when you're manic, you feel you have this spending spree mood. You feel when you get money, you just use it. You don't care what will happen if you don't have money. You just use it until it's over. The toughest part is like because of the symptoms. Like when you are in mania, you feel you can't function properly. Like you can't function normally like other people because you can't concentrate. You can't rest for one place. You don't rest. You just move around. Like me when I'm in mania, I just move around town, just visit places. You can't concentrate and do it and work. You just feel you want to go and you're just hyperactive.
I think the key challenges is that sometimes there will come up complex issues which no one might be able to know how we are going to address them. And sometimes also, a person might sort of have an emotional breakdown when you're conducting a support group. And then, of course, you really have to know how to handle that particular person. You really have to know how to deal with that particular person. Then there's the aspect of, confidentiality. Of course, people are sharing very sensitive and confidential issues about their lives. So you also have to ensure that those kind of discussions do not get out of the group, which at the end of the day could actually affect the group negatively.
The support group has really helped me because I came to meet people who have my condition. They talk about how they solve their problem, they deal with their problem, and that has really helped me to accept myself and see like I'm not the only one who suffers from the same condition.
So we also use the peer support groups as a forum for advocacy because most of our members actually are involved in different initiatives towards sensitizing the public and also creating awareness about mental health conditions in Kenya. So despite the individual's benefit, they also provide support to the organization by actually participating in different activities within the organization, mostly in public education. When you feel like you want to quit, just come and share so that we encourage and we work together to ensure that all of us are able to make decisions which are going to help us to live a better and productive life. For the group in Nairobi, we normally meet twice per month. For the other groups which are in Nairobi, Kiambu and Nyeri, they normally meet once per month. So in Kenya, we have the Persons with Disabilities Act of 2003, which basically offers a number of benefits to persons who have mental disabilities in Kenya. For example, we have the tax exemption for those who are actually employed. Then we have the National Council for Persons with Disabilities also provide funding, but this is for groups of persons with mental disabilities. Then apart from that, we have, of course, in terms of education, if you are registered as a person with a disability, then you can be able to get a scholarship whereby the National Council for Persons with Disability pays around 75% of your school fees, I think up to the master's level. So those are advantages, but then people need to be registered with the National Council for Persons with Disabilities as persons with mental disabilities so that they can be able to enjoy these benefits.
I'll be there between today and before, out of the 3,500. I'm number 278.
In the group that we have in Nairobi, I mean, we have people who are lawyers, we have people who are architects, we have people who are, teachers, we have people who are engineers. We have one member who is a sitting judge of the High Court in Kenya. So I think that is generally a myth. Persons with mental health condition, when given the right opportunity, the right kind of support, they can lead a productive life just like anyone else and make a significant contribution in our society. USP Kenya is a membership organization, so the members pay 500 shillings per annum. That is basically the registration fee that is required for any person who is joining the organization.
There are a number of reasons people struggle with a mental disorder without reaching out for help. They simply don't know what's wrong and they feel they're just different. They feel they can't beat it on their own and they're ashamed and try to hide the symptoms. Exasperated family and friends tell them to get over it, or they reach out for help, but their first experience leaves them feeling disregarded and misunderstood. Yet we know that the earlier people get help, the better the outcome. Send us your views and your comments to midmorning at standupmedia.co.ke. Also comment on the discussions posted in KTM Midmorning on Facebook, and don't forget to like our page. It's been a pleasure. I have been your host, Gray. Let's do this again tomorrow, and have a lovely day.